Josh's training, dumbbell specifically. Josh is a great presser, really, really well-rounded strongman. But what you'll find in this sport at the top level is like maybe one or two events that just aren't clicking. Dumbbell has been Josh's Achilles heel for quite a while. And you sneak by for quite a while, but dumbbell's pretty popular now. It's at OSG. There's no way around it at this point. So that's what we're working on. Really working on the mechanics. Leading up to this session, we had 2 sessions. He got 1 cue per session. First one, turn your foot out that has the dumbbell in it. So rather than cocking your hip out, you turn the foot out, get that stacked underneath it. Second cue, use your quads. He was cleaning it with all back like this. Cleaning it with all back. Here, look at the trajectory. It's going to cause the dumbbell to fly out in front of me and cause it to want to sit back this way. This is what he was struggling with, is sitting here like this, the shortened bicep behind him like a low bar squat. Okay, we want that shit up front here, big oblique and serratus to support that along with the lat behind it. Okay, so using the quads to clean like this here is going to cause it to move up in a straight line and here rather than behind us. Okay, so those 2 points or 2 major mechanics were the big things that I needed Josh to work on before he got here. And this session wouldn't have been as productive if he didn't nail those 2 things. So now we're getting into the nitty-gritty. Those were the two big things to be ironed out. Now we're getting into the splitting hairs, the really big details, or really small details rather. Talking to him about putting his hand on top of the handle rather than out to the side, gripping it like this. Like he's probably got to grip his monster cock, you know what I mean? But us people with smaller cocks, normal sized cocks, you grab it like this appropriately. Right? You know, in all seriousness, you grab it like this, you go to clean it. Look where my hand's sitting. Well, the weight pushes here. If I put it on top and I clean it up, then I've got that centered through while I'm able to push forward here, right? So that's the main theme of this entire day, is tying all 3 of those points together to get the one desired product. I'm on my second session of thrusters. Not a whole lot to add there. Just kind of throwing that in because I've done my dumbbell sessions separately from my check-ins. So just getting those out here. So what he's talking about here is, and this is a really big issue in the dumbbell. I apologize for the sound. The video situation this last weekend, I completely fucked up. That was my fault. I was supposed to have mics and everything, good sound. So I'm just going to half-ass this one and talk through it. Try better next time. Anyways, what he's talking about is his mental hang-up on dumbbell. Because it's not like a push press where you can sit there for a second and push through. It's a throw and a catch. So mentally, you got to send that motherfucker or it will not go. He's dropped a dumbbell on his foot or his knee. I can't remember what he said. I've dropped one on my head. There's a period of time where it's really, really hesitant and really hard to start sending weight. So that was what he was telling me about there, is that one of his main issues is to keep his head on right. That tells me as a coach, okay, I got to fire him up, but not like reckless, like a deadlift or a stone maybe, but more so fucking cold-blooded. That's the term I use a lot with Ben, actually. But cold-blooded, because you're going to be a fucking killer, but you don't have emotions. You don't have these things that are making you go crazy all over the place. We're just dialing it in. So that was the point where I took that feedback. I said, okay, that's the pace that the session needs to go at, both in my performance and how I speak to him. So what I'm trying to highlight in these sessions is not only the technical things that we need to work on and the measures that we take to ensure that those technical things get worked on, we're also matching the environment and the mindset up to best pair with the training that we're trying to accomplish. Now, let's go into the methods that we're using to ensure that we're practicing this technique. Things like reps, sets, weights, jumps, progress indicators, all that kind of stuff. I'm doing sets of 3 here at each weight. We're doing 20-pound jumps up to 205, starting at 115. 3 reps at each weight, ascending all the way up, no matter what. So he gets his volume in, he gets his perfection in, and we don't have to worry about sacrificing or getting junk volume at heavier weights because we're getting his triceps stronger, his pressing stronger, other points in the week, and we're getting his dumbbell more proficient here. And we can blend those capacities later. So the excess volume on the warm-up attempts is one thing. The 3 reps is another thing, but now let's talk about how we're approaching those 3 reps. Each rep must get more proficient than the last. So what you'll notice is that each one got better in that same weight, and then he was allowed to go up. It's almost like earn that next weight up. And that method is a method to help pair with the mindset thing that I was talking about, right? So there's certain rep schemes and there's certain styles of the actual training that are going to trigger certain mental responses to encourage the mental environment that I want. So I'm not just taking raw training and then trying to tell them to stay in this mindset. I'm picking training that not only stimulates what I want to stimulate, but also stimulates the mindset that I want to stimulate so that he doesn't have to put effort into the environment. He doesn't have to think. I don't have to think. We just execute in this certain way, and we know that every single decision that we're doing, from the way we're chalking our fucking hands to the way that we're warming up to the way that we're touching the dumbbell and doing our working sets, every single thing is pointing towards the stimulation of the proficiency and the dumbbell, okay? Mental, physical, emotional. Yes, those are 2 different things, mental and emotional, believe it or not. They go hand in hand. They all go hand in hand. But this style of coaching and the things that I'm talking about, it's beyond programming. And this is the kind of stuff that I want to show and work on with my athletes, because you can be the best programmer in the fucking world, and if your guy's not taking it in right, if he's not reading it right, if he's not getting input that you can understand, if you're not giving him input that he can understand, it's for shit. So programming is just such a small part of the equation, and that's, I guess, the main point here with all this. Other than Josh is coming to make a fucking statement, motherfucker, and that's the other main point. So watch out. One of the big mobility issues that Josh has across all his lifts, and if you've been following me for a while, you've heard me talk about if you've got a weak point or a mobility issue in one lift, it's typically going to carry over into every other lift and every other form of movement, even your own walking around. So the serratus, like I talked about earlier, that nice big wall here that supports the lat, allows us to come out in front like that fucking bicep comes out in front like that. So it's not just the lat holding it there. There's this big fleshy part over the ribs, the armpit here called the serratus, and it stabilizes that. All the pec, the lat, the shoulder, all that. So you've got this like almost frictional, antagonizing thing going on between the lat and the serratus. I almost feel like they slide together and support one another. And deadlifting, farmer's carrying, getting crushed under the yoke, anything where it's causing the athlete to go like this, you're shutting that down and you're not utilizing it. So besides the quad thing, that was the big upper body component of Josh across all lifts that we're trying to work on. It's most exposed in the dumbbell. You'll find that a lot of these weak points are going to be most exposed in the athlete's weakest week event, no shit, and in the most technical and varying events as far as outcome, because it requires more of the stabilizing and the antagonizing, and it just shows a lot more clearly because of that, because of the requirements. So serratus and quad engagement, which actually go hand in hand too. But that's for another time. So that was the first go at the 205. I think this is my second or first go. Yep, that was my good one. And then, so here, you'll see what we're trying to do, both of us. Sometimes activation doesn't mean this like big thing of like this big protocol or exercise to like turn on your muscles. Sometimes it's just like, hey motherfucker, there you are. That's how you work. Go. That's it. That's it for dumbbell training. The rest of this is some of his other training we might get into another time. But that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'm excited to show you kind of what's going to happen lead into these next two shows. I'm really fortunate to be working with Josh because a lot of the correctionals that we're doing, I'm using the same movement optimization that I developed for Ben Pollock when he went from powerlifting into bodybuilding posing. This is the stuff that I'm correcting Josh's deadlift, stones, and dumbbell, all that shit with, is the same exact stuff I taught Ben how to pose with. So this is really fucking cool on my end to be able to see, because I've been talking about this for a while about how this stuff connects, and finally we've got someone who's all in at the top level of a different sport that we can show the transitional points and how all this stuff feeds together. So that's it. Thanks for watching. And I don't think I have anything else. Let me know if you have any questions. Comment, DM me, email me, whatever. Yeah, that's it.